And we've got a War of the Roses special for this week's big game between Leeds United and Manchester United. I'm Kolt K, Leeds fan.
I'm James Rocker, Manchester United fan.
And we're going to be discussing the big game. James, I know your dad's a Leeds fan. He's the smart member of the Foot family. Shout out Mr. Rocker, an upstanding member of the community who supports a nice team. Don't know what happened to his son. But you know what this game means to Leeds fans.
I do know what this game means to Leeds fans. It's basically your be-all and end-all. I think as soon as you get promoted back to the Premiership, it's the, more than any other fixture, it's the one that you had your eyes on. I mean, ideally, probably the game at Elland Road, as opposed to Old Trafford and things like that, is obviously the one that you have your focus on. But still, I mean, it's a huge game for you guys. Whether it is for us, I'll be honest.
I don't buy that.
Don't get me wrong. It's a big game. Like you're huge rivals of ours, but you're just not what you once were. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to lose, but
I do get that, and I wouldn't try and sit here and say, we're your biggest rivals, because I think that's Liverpool because of the history and the trophies they've won and stuff like that. And then locally, it's City, who, because how good they've been lately, you'd say they're up there too. But this is a big rivalry because like I said, I wouldn't say it's your biggest rivalry, but Leeds have been away 16 years, and Man U fans still chant about how much they hate us.
Oh, mate, we hate you. I hate you.
Yeah.
But
I think for the older generation of United fan who understand the rivalry, they will see this as we don't want to lose this game. There's younger fans that, to me, don't get it as much, because I've actually seen recently like a few things on Facebook of like younger United fans saying that Man U should look at bringing in Calvin Phillips and all this. And I was just reading it like, yeah, I don't think you really get the rivalry.
Nah, like, especially with him being a local boy. Yeah, with him being a local boy as well. There's no. I mean, don't get me wrong. The way he's been playing this season, I think I'd actually love to have him in the United team. I think he'd suit.
Of course you would, but the reality is.
But he'd suit the way we want to play. He'd suit the way we want to play, but yeah, there's no chance I think he'd ever come to us.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I think a lot of people don't get it. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. Like I've always said to you in this game, it doesn't play by the rules. And it's been very hard for me to kind of take off my Leeds hat for this. I've got Man U in my family. My granddad, my uncle are United fans. So for me, this is a game where I'm hugely biased in terms of how much I want to win it. But to try and analyse it tactically from a neutral point of view, the fact of the matter is that United, we're made for United. We're absolutely made for them in terms of the way we play. Man U are poor when a team sits back and a team says to them, right, you need to come break us down. When a team tries to play against United and United hit them on the counter, that for me is when Man U at their best. It's been a constant, ever since Solskjaer came in, you've been a counter-attacking team.
But isn't that the best way to play against you because of the high press that you play?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We play into United's hands. If I look at it tactically, we play straight into Man U's hands because of the way we play. It suits how I feel Man U at their best. I'm not going to lie and say I think Rashford for me scares me because Rashford is so good at running direct, beating a man. If you do that against Leeds, because we go man for man, there's so much space there to exploit.
And against Sheffield United midweek, he did that well. Yeah. And he looked good, didn't he? Yeah, like
and when you add in the fact that, again, I've never tried to say that Leeds have better players than Man U. They don't. I've never said that. I think the only two you can make a case for getting the Man U team are probably Phillips and Rodrigo. I can't really make a case for anyone else. When you add that in, it tells you United should win this game quite comfortably. But there's a couple of things. United's defence, as you know, is shaky, and Leeds will attack it. We both know that. But equally, we know, like I said before, logic, form, everything goes out of the window in this game. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Obviously, the FA Cup game, which I've consistently reminded you about, League One Leeds went to Old Trafford and beat Man U, who were the champions at the time. I mean, that's just a perfect example of we had no right to win that game. Absolutely zero right. And we still did. And also, more interestingly, the last time Leeds were in the league, 03-04, the year we got relegated. United, under Ferguson, challenging for the title. Leeds poor that season. I had a look at the fixtures. The game at Ellen Road, I was actually at, as I think I would have been like 9. I was at, I remember it. It was finished 1-0 to United. Roy Keane scored with a header in, I think, 10 minutes left. So it was quite a tight game. So United didn't batter us. And then Old Trafford, we got a 1-1 draw that season. So that's what I mean. Even when Leeds have been poor, it was a tight game.
I mean, the one thing that I think was in your favour definitely for those games, though, compared to maybe towards nowadays, is that definitely back in the day, like 03-04, those were wars, I feel like. And if you go even further back, they're even, even dirtier, really, the games. I feel like the players could get away with a bit more. And because of that, you could maybe getting a 0-0 draw and things was a bit easier because you didn't necessarily have to be as good going forward. But as long as you could, do you know what I mean? Like, I think we were clearly the better attacking team back in those days. Even though you had a good team back in 03-04, before you had to sell all your players. Cheers for Alan Smith, by the way, and Rio Ferdinand.
Well, I mean, that Alan Smith one, by the way, I think is a perfect example of why when that's you don't actually go by Calvin Phillips, don't understand how it works.
Nah,
because Alan Smith to this day hasn't been forgiven by Leeds fans, and there was a lot of mitigating circumstances in that. But that's a whole different topic. But that's what I mean. Alan Smith hasn't been forgotten.
Yeah, but to be fair, Alan Smith won things. Does Calvin Phillips want to win things? Like that, I suppose, as in a personal ambition kind of thing. But the one thing I'd say in his defence, I know we're going off topic a bit here. I think he's good enough to play for any of the other big. I was not say bigger teams, any other big teams in England. If he really wanted to go to another English team, he has his, I think, pick of a few bunch. And I know that United would probably be, just out of loyalty, definitely the one at the bottom of the pile. And that might even be below a team like Everton. Do you know what I mean? If he got offered Everton. But yeah, going back to it, I mean, the FA Cup one, I mean, fuck you, Kieran. I mean, I hate that day so much. And had you been a Premier League team, even a Championship team, I don't know. I think I could have forgotten about it or accepted it a bit more. The fact you had
League One.
And we played you off the park that game. Like, the ball trickled over the line as well. Like, everything about it just infuriates me to this day. But
the fact is that this rivalry is so strong that Jermaine Beckford could have done absolutely nothing else in his Leeds career apart from that goal, and he'd still be a Leeds legend. That tells you all you need to know about this game.
Tell you what, all you need to know about that, yeah, like you're saying about Jermaine Beckford. I remember Jermaine Beckford. I remember that name. Why the fuck do I need to remember who he is? Just because of that one goal. I mean, probably because you remind me of it every month, but that's besides the point. I still knew it anyway. But the one thing that I think, going back to that, I think so crucial for this fixture, which you don't have this time, is fans. And I think, and the reason why I think that's so crucial is a bit like you were saying, the generation of fans. And even in that sense, the generation of players as well. When we were growing up and you were in the Premier League, we were in the Premier League, we were playing each other every season. The fans were going at each other, players were going at each other. We had, I suppose, all of the class of, 96 or whatever, coming through in gigs, goals. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're born and bred for that fixture. They know the significance of it. They know how much they hate Leeds. So do you know what I mean? That always made it so easy in that sense for it to be a big game and for players to rise up to the occasion. And I'm just thinking, with a lot of these players, because you have bought a fair number of new players as well this year, and we have a bunch of players as well that haven't really grown up with this rivalry and this history.
Well, that was my question to you.
Is it going to be there? Is that rivalry and this derby really going? I mean, look at the derby between United and City. It was dull.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. But from a Leeds point of view, Leeds as a club is ingrained in the club. You hate Man U. You just do. Every player coming through that door knows about this rivalry, and every player playing on Sunday, will know what this means to Leeds. So that edge will be there for them. My question, though, is what you said. With Man United, a lot of their players weren't there when Leeds were in the Premier League, who've been gone so long, may not have heard of how significant this rivalry is. And if they're not aware of it, I think they could be caught on Sunday. They really could, because I can tell you now, Leeds players will be aware of it.
But I'm not sure if they will.
No,
I'm not sure if they will.
There's no way. Bielsa's already talking about it.
Yeah, but
He's already said we know what it means.
Yeah, but the whole of your time in the Premier League and even getting promoted at the end of last year, you haven't had any fans in the stadium. So, I know, like you were saying, you guys still chant songs about how much you hate us. They haven't been listening to those week in, week out. Those new players haven't been listening to those week in, week out, to the point that I'm not sure. You know, you can tell a player how significant a rivalry is. You know, it always happens, for instance, with United, let's say Liverpool, we sign a new player. They might think they know, but until they play in that fixture, they don't realise it. And one of those big reasons why they see and realise how big a fixture is are the fans. Because the atmosphere is mental at these kind of games. I mean, I've watched some videos.
Agree. This is the game that I think Leeds will miss fans the most, because if there was a packed house Old Trafford with 9,000 Leeds fans there, the players would know straight away. It would be a cauldron. For me, I think we've got you at Ellen Road at the end of April. So with this vaccine stuff, hopefully by then we'll have some fans there, and that will be a big test. But I just refuse to believe that any Leeds player is not aware of how big this game is. And I really do think there will be an extra edge to it. Whether that's reciprocated by United, I don't know. But I
hope there is, though. I hope there's an edge. I'm hoping for an edge. I want there to be some fight to this game.
Yeah, even if you move that aside, though, the fact is United have been slow starters in every game this season anyway.
Home form's been terrible.
And the reality is, if you start poorly against us and it clicks like it did against Newcastle for us, we can swipe you away. Leeds are capable of that. We don't do it consistently enough to be a top team, but we're more than capable of doing it. And say if you have a first half where Leeds go 2-0 up and kind of get momentum behind them, I think it's been very difficult for United to get back into that game, like they have with others.
I was going to say, but would you not say with the way that United have been going, we've come alive in the games that we've got? It's don't get me wrong, I bloody hate it. I've been putting my head through a wall in the first half.
I think it would be the best thing for this game is for Leeds to score early. Because if Leeds score early, United will come out and attack. And then I honestly think it will be a basketball game. Because I think the tactic will be for United to sit back, soak it up, and hit us on the break. But if Leeds score early, that's going to go out the window.
I mean, my worry is which I've said to you a few times, where I think the balance of this game is so intriguing, is I agree in terms of counter-attacking, we can exploit so much space because of your high press. But on the flip side, I'm not sure if I trust us passing out from the back enough at times that your high press can work. So it really can go 50-50 in my eyes. I don't want to say that. I'd love to say that we'll just walk this game, which I think it's clearly put a smile on your face. But I think we'll win the game personally, and I think we are the better team in terms of we got the better players, and
we have a better coach though. We have a better manager. I would say that.
Okay. I'm not going to argue it, but I'm not going to argue it in the sense as well that Bielsa 100% is. I don't care what Shea and Kolt say midweek, and they berate you for berate Bielsa for. Class manager. He's been there, he's done it, and I respect him enough. And he's done it against us before when he was Athletic Bilbao manager as well.
He won Old Trafford
in the Europa League when Bilbao, people thought they were an okay team, but they played us off the park, and I mean this, both games, home and away. It was embarrassing. We dropped from the Champions League into the Europa League, and we were embarrassed over 2 games.
And the fact is, that could happen again tomorrow. I'm capable of it.
I'm not going to sit here and say that it can't, because like you were saying as well, we've been so inconsistent, and it's worrying because. But that's why I also don't, going back to the manager, so to speak. Bielsa 100% better manager right now. I don't want to rule Ole out because his managerial career is still so limited. Do you know what I mean? So, and we've got some huge wins under Solskjaer. Don't get me wrong, we've got some class players, but I refuse to believe at this point that they're all because our players are doing the whole job. There's got to be, there's some tactical nous to what he's doing. It just seems to happen, weirdly enough, in the bigger games. I feel like although I say that, the way that we went out of the Champions League, but that's fuck me.
One battle I wanted to draw your attention to for this game, which I think is going to be a key one. Rafinha, Wan-Bissaka.
Not a chance, mate. Wan-Bissaka. I'm not even having this debate.
No. This is what I want to talk about, because Wan-Bissaka, I've always said, for me, 1-on-1, I think he's one of the best defenders in the league.
Exactly. Yeah.
However,
I think he is the best defender 1-on-1 in the league.
Yeah. Rafinha, from what I've seen of him thus far, like we agreed, he looks. I mean, at 17 million.
Isn't he right wing though?
Huh?
I thought he was right.
No, they swap in between games, so there will be points where he will be going at Wan-Bissaka, and we've agreed he looks like a quality player for the money we paid. And what I like about him is he's so direct. He runs at people, he takes them on, he looks to get shot off. So Rafinha will take on Wan-Bissaka, and that for me is a very interesting battle, because so far for me, Rafinha's looked dangerous every time he's run at players, and it's going to be very interesting how Wan-Bissaka deals with that. It really is. I think he's a great defender, but there's no real defence against pure pace, and that's what Rafinha's got. So that is going to be interesting, and if he can get the better of him, I think you could be in trouble.
But don't get me wrong. When you bought Rafinha, I messaged you that day, didn't I? And I said, for £18 million, you've got a bloody steal with a. I'm not going to lie and say I knew a lot about him, but I knew enough to say that was a very, very good signing.
He looks class as well.
He's now starting to show it. But you're right. I suppose you're acting like he hasn't pocketed players like Sterling for the past few seasons. Sterling has nightmares about Wan-Bissaka, and Sterling goes at Wan-Bissaka. It's not like he doesn't try. I think when we've played Liverpool, I don't get me wrong. Maybe my mind's going. I've had a few beers, so it might be a bit hazy. But I can't think Wan-Bissaka's been done in the Liverpool games either. Do you know what I mean? Against Mane, and I think we'd all probably put Mane as possibly the best player in the Premier League. He's definitely.
I do agree. It's going to be very tough for Rafinha, but it's going to be an interesting battle, because Rafinha will take him on, and I would love to see Wan-Bissaka have an off day, because if he does, and Rafinha does get in behind him, you're going to have big problems. Because that for me is the key danger area.
The more interesting battle for me is Bruno and Phillips. Yeah. Yeah, no,
that is because for me, if Bruno has a bad day, United have a bad day.
I agree.
And I can tell you now, Bielsa will sit there and say to Phillips, you do not let Bruno breathe during that game. He will be on him all game. And if he can stop Bruno playing, he can stop United playing.
And that's why I agree. That's why I think that's the more key battle, because I think we've got enough tools elsewhere to cause problems. But whether or not we do then is, like you're saying, he's our focal point in our attack. Every attack that we do something meaningful through comes through him. Although I will say, in the past few games that Pogba's been playing, he's had good games. And he's just given us that other option in the midfield other than Bruno. And it's been a nice thing to see, but my biggest problem with Pogba has always been consistency. And I suppose that feeds into the whole team at the moment. The only reason I give you even a slight chance in this game is our consistency.
I'm telling you now, what I think in the first few minutes with Bruno, I guarantee you Calvin is going to clatter into him. Just to let him know you're there. You can see that's going to happen straight away, because I think Calvin's job will be just to stick to Bruno like glue. I really do. And
doesn't matter if he does. Give us a penalty. I'll have it. Bruno will stick it in the top corner.
We're going to wrap this up. We're going to get into predictions. You said 3-1 on the main show. Are you sticking with that?
Sticking to it. I believe we'll win 3-1.
I said 3-1.
But it'll be tight. I'm not saying that it'll be an easy game, but I think it'll be 3-1.
I said 3-1 Leeds as well. I'm hopeful. I've got to be positive after Newcastle game. But it's in the back of my mind that, well, like I've said, this game has always been tight. So I don't know if it's going to be decided by more than a goal. But with how United's defence has been and how inconsistent it has been, like I said, if it clicks, we can cause some damage. So I'm going to stick to my 3-1 for Leeds. For those of you who don't know, if that does happen, James will not be on the podcast next week. By the end of the season, I think it's just going to be me doing it with John, because Bradley and Shay aren't going to be on it anymore.
I'll be on it.
If we win this
I'll
game,
be on it.
James will...
I'll be on it, because we have a few days before we record that. You might not hear from me for about 2 days though.
Hopefully me and the senior rocker are smiling and we put this Essex fanboy back in his place. But yeah, James, I hope to speak to you after the game in a very good mood. If United win, then you won't hear from me.
I was going to say, we never talked about the flip side, did we?
No. But yeah, this has been Football Shot, the War of Roses special. I'm Kolt K.
I'm James Rocker.
And we'll catch you later.